So as you have heard, and those who understand Punjabi, not my mother tongue, but I love this song, Piyo Ma and Asa Tere Punge. You are our father and mother, Indus, and we are your children. And this defines Pakistan. Indus defines Pakistan. Indus defines the civilization that we are thriving on. Wherever you take the point of history in 5,000 years or 7,000 years, we are dependent on this. We have survived because of this. And Indus is the lifeline for Pakistan. At the same time, it is under existential threat. And that is what brings us all together talking about it. And I'll just give you a very brief background into how we as a United Nation came together to be part of the part of this lifeline work, the most important critical strategic initiative for the people of Pakistan. So we, UN, as you know, we are we have a lot of agencies. We have a lot of projects, programs in country like Pakistan. Usually our development portfolio is around $900–800 million if you combine all the 20 agencies together. And at the same time, we are working on things like, useful things, but like on recycling plastic bottles, awareness raising about the pollution, or so with a country like Pakistan, and with the magnitude, the issue of with the magnitude of this level, our contributions remains very low. As you know, we have been going through very rigorous reforms in the development coordination system. In 2018, the reforms to development coordination system happened with the General Assembly, putting a very empowered, independent resident coordinator system as a coordination structure which make the UN more nimbler, more accountable, more transparent, more decentralized, and talking in the language of what people want and what people need. And the major tool and enabler of that reforms was the cooperation framework. So we had all the UN agencies working with their 5-year plans or 3-year plans or 4-year plans. So everything was brought in together and said, you all need to work within a cooperation framework, a guiding document or a guiding structure, from where you can derive your programs, your outputs, and where you can see what the results have been achieved together. So that was basically the answer to the question which everybody asked. UN, so many projects, where is the impact? And that was answered to the question by the General Assembly, that the results need to be reflected. We are at the service of the host country and the people, its people, and we are accountable for it. As international civil servants, we have to support the civil service of here, but most importantly focus on how we can support the people. And when we were looking at how we designed the cooperation framework, right from what we call the mountains to the mangroves, and to the from the ridges to the reef, from Gilgit-Baltistan to Karachi, everybody said climate change is a problem. At the same time, nobody basically understood that they understood the implications of it. So for them, like, climate change was different, but they couldn't understand the doom, the gloom, the jargons, the fancy words that we use in our community, and we are very good at inventing more and more every day, and the acronyms that we use. And at the same time, it was affecting everyone. So it was as severe, the climate change impact, for a man in Gilgit-Baltistan Pakistan, where he is faced with the glacial lac outburst floods, where the ecotourism has been significantly impacted with the weather systems, where coming down, and all the plastic pollution that is coming with that tourist. And down there coming to KP and Punjab, you have like the rivers who are died, biologically dead. Ravi, for example, the arsenic, the nitrates, the fertilizers going into it, the unplanned urbanization that's happening. And going to Sindh, for example, then I don't need to explain it. The soil erosion, the fisheries losses, and the untapped potential of the blue economy. And even Balochistan, where we thought initially when we said like Indus, it doesn't touch them a lot, and then research by FAO, and they said 45% of water of Indus comes from, of Balochistan comes from Indus. Sobatpur, Jafrabad, Nasirabad, Jalmaksi, Dera Bukti, they consume. And unfortunately, the malnourishment as per National Nutrition Survey was the highest in those districts because the water was toxic. The children was getting ill after every 10 days. The mothers were malnourished. So it was, we understood in what less water or more water, that is what climate change means for Pakistan. Indus, right from north to the south, is one that is 90% of economy dependent on it, 85% plus the water needs dependent on it, 9 out of 10 big cities at the 50% vicinity of it, the food, the water, everything we are provided with that, and at the same time it is under existential threat. And the question that we asked was not about this treaty and that treaty, not about this agreement and that result. The question was how long it can survive with all this triple planetary crisis impacts, with the climate change impacts, with the loss of biodiversity, with the pollution that is having. And the answer was no. The answer was 50 years, 40 years, 30 years, and I can't tell you, like it was, we have all those consultative sessions at 11 layers, and everybody was like realizing it can't survive with that. So Indus is that barometer of the health of the Pakistan, and we understood that the UN should focus them as one of the key outcomes, the 5 outcomes that we work on, and should be at the service of the people to make this issue in the way it should be addressed. And that's what the thought leadership, the knowledge base that we have. We don't bring a lot of money. We have like the 5 years programs. It's around $4.7 billion. The whole framework, all the 20 agencies, next 5 years, 2023. 2027. So it's almost $900 million or $1 billion at the most a year, the development funding. The government, for example, the federal government is $52 billion outlay, I think. So it's like not the money that we bring, but we thought this agenda, when we work on it, convene everyone around it, the thought leadership that's generated around it, bring everybody, the technical partners, the development partners, the civil society, the communities, it will create that type of push for something which is existential threat for Pakistan. And that is basically the story of how it came here. And then fortunately, because and we were working with the government developing these outcomes, so it was not a prescriptive formula imposed on the people of Pakistan and the government. This is what UN thinks has worked very good in Finland, and we are bringing it here. It was about what the people of Gilgit-Baltistan and the woman in South Punjab and the man in near the Karachi. So it's basically those who were important for us, and what they want from this outcome and what they want from UN. So we brought our internally, it was a challenge. We brought everyone around it. Externally, with the government, when they got this with the discussion, they were extremely open to it. The Prime Minister's Climate Change Committee, and then it went on and on with the government of the former government, and so it was done in one of the like the PTI government, then the former government of the PDM. It was approved by the federal cabinet. Now you can listen to the Prime Minister talking about in COP, this is the prime agenda, this should be financed, this is what actually the country wants. So it was across the party lines, it was across everyone, because everyone is impacted. Indus. So we have to come out, and we tried to come out from that jargons of the climate change and the impacts and the trends and the analysis, and as I said, the doom, the gloom, and etc. And so we went out to say about Sindhu. We talked about the people, how they would talk to Indus, and about the Sher Darya, as it's called in Gilgit-Baltistan, about the Abbasin, the father of the rivers, as it's called in KP. It was about them. It was about the scorching heat that is affecting their livelihoods. So it cut across all the sectors, it across everyone, and that is what brought us to this idea. It's not a project, it's not a plan, it's an initiative, a big initiative. And I would quote Adil Najam, who was part of this group when we brought it together. I must say, we had food and agriculture organizations who is leading this outcome group in the UN at the representative level, and the wonderful colleagues who brought everyone together around it. And Adil Najam used to say, somebody asked him a question, it's very ambitious. And he said, the mess that we have done with Indus needs the same level of ambition to resolve it. So that's what the answer to that. And as our Secretary General said, we are on a very thin ice. The ice is melting very, very fast. We are on a highway to hell. This is an existential threat. We can't go to Arabian Sea. We can't migrate to Iran, Afghanistan, India. There is no way but to work on it as a personal agenda, as a personal passion, and how we need to work around it with the advocacy that we can do and the changes that we can make it together. I hope it covered a bit of what actually we did in UN, and colleagues will be talking more about the technicalities of it. I'm not a technical person. I'm not a climate change expert, but when I talk to the people in the field, it literally gives me goosebumps of how impactful this work could be if we listen to them and work in the way they want the Indus to be for their children. We want champions. Every one of us to be the championing this cause. UN with very humble capacities will be at your service, will be available to support, but we need more and more champions. And I want every one of you to raise your hand if you want to be the champion of this cause. If you're a champion of this cause, please raise your hand and be part of the struggle for the existence of Pakistan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.